G'day guys, and welcome to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And in this video, I will be doing a comprehensive breakdown of the new Awoken skill, Ultra Instinct, the long-awaited. I will be showing its strengths, its weaknesses, and a little bit of tech with it. So let's jump straight in. Alright, here we are on the field. Now, things to note. Number 1, it takes about 5.5 seconds to transform. And number 2, it actually eats 5 key bars. So not only do you need 5, but it eats them as well, just like Beast. Now, unlike other Awokens, or most other Awokens, it actually doesn't have super armor on startup. So if you're hit just before your character gets the aura, then this happens. You just get punched out of it. It doesn't cost key at all, but you just get punched right out of it anyway. Now, if you're hit while the aura's around you, for the start of it, because halfway through the aura being around you, you can actually get broken. But for the start of it, you'll actually perform a counter. So let's see that. So there's the counter. Guarantees the transformation. 1,728 damage. I have no investment in strike supers on this character, but we'll see a normal strike counter and we'll compare the damage. This super got shock flash. Does a little bit more, so it's about the same as a generic counter, basically. Here we are in the photo mode, and I'm going to show off the stamina breaks. So as the UI player, you're safe during all this. Right here, you can be stamina broken. In that bit where it zooms in, you can be stamina broken. So let's see that from the other end. So let's start transforming. Wait a second. There. So wait until the aura gets a little brighter if you're going against the UI. Now let me showcase something else. If you knock away into a transformation, they can't burst dash you. It's too far. There are very certain angles though they can, so it's not that reliable. Like right here. See if I can make it here. It's close, but there are certain angles, I've gotten it a few times, where you just cannot make it with a burst. See if we can do it here. Yep, right there. Couldn't make it. So that's a mostly reliable way, but let's look at the perfect block now. You can actually perfect block it. That was terrible timing. You can perfect block it. What you want to look for is them to get brighter and the eyes to open. There we go. And then you just heavy attack and it breaks them. So that can be done too, so that's something to watch out for. And if you're attacking someone and then just go into UI, if they know, they can just wait for you to glow and then do that. So there's a lot of break opportunities for UI, but if they hit you before the glow gets brighter, then they'll get hit with the counter. So if you're hitting them like this, and then just go on the UI and they go for an attack back, then they'll get countered. So that's all the stuff with breaks to watch out for. If you see someone UIing from a long way, you can basically burst dash straight away and just hit them like that. You don't really need to wait. And if you've noticed, when their stamina broken, UI turns off. So they can't UI again if you break them. Okay, so now that I've gone over all of the things you can do with the transformation and how to break it and all that, let's go over the actual buffs it gives you. Let's just use a Tyrant Lancer on base. 3,243. Now let's transform. Use another Tyrant Lancer. Exact same damage. Okay, let's use Savage Strike. 1,631. Now let's transform. And do it again. Very Ultra Instinct-like move. Exact same damage. Okay, let's do basic combo. Let's just do square, triangle, triangle. That's 1,607. Let's transform. $1,607. It does not, in any shape or form, increase any kind of damage. Which I think may be a first, actually. Alright, now let's test if it gives you increased stamina and key recovery. Let's just do one of those. See how quick the stamina's coming back. It's about 1 bar every second and a half, I'd say. Now let's do another one and proc Ultra Instinct. Here we go, make sure I get on the ground right after. It looks to be about the same. It looks to be about the exact same, so I think it actually doesn't increase the stamina. Now let's test if UI does key recovery. So let's lower my key down to 0. And let's just do the square triangle, square triangle. Bread and butter female Saiyan combo. Gets you about 1 bar and a little bit. Now going on into UI. Get 0 key again. Square triangle, square triangle. Exact same. So there's no damage buffs anywhere. There's no increased stamina recovery. And there is no increased key recovery. So UI is all about utility, which I'll be showing off right now. Utility number 1. Notice how I don't have a charge skill. Well, if I actually hold block and then hold triangle or Y, I get Surging Spirit. So you basically get a free charge skill. Charge is the exact same rate as ultimate charge. So it's essentially a free charge skill, freeing up a slot for other moves. So that's number 1 with UI. Number 2, if it wasn't obvious, auto dodge. For 1 bar of stamina, you can dodge basic attacks and basic key blasts. And basically everything else goes through it. Be that strike super, key super, charged key, or even an evasive, they all go through it. So the auto dodge is just for basic attacks. Now, moving on to the third and final thing that the auto dodge dodges other than basic attacks and basic blasts is basic grabs. Here we go, doing our basic grabs here, and they are all getting dodged. So this will be very useful against DBS Broly grab spammers, I am sure. But as the UI user, there's 2 things you can do with the auto dodge. Number 1, if you have 2 bars of key, and you do an auto dodge, you can perform that same counter from last time by pressing X after dodging. So let's compare the transformation counter to the actual regular counter. So to remind you, transformation counter, that much damage right there, 1729. I think I misread last time, so 28. And the regular one, 2,467, a lot more, because I think it's actually scaled off your basic instead. So they do different damage, it's something to take note of. Alright, so the second thing that you can do with the auto dodge, just like Ultra Instinct Goku, is you can attack immediately after dodging, which is something you can't actually do in data input. Here we are on data input, let's see. Mashing attack, it's a little slower. You have to wait for the animation like fully play out, whereas in MUI, or just plain UI, you don't have that problem. Basically have no recovery frames after you dodge. So yeah, that's the second thing you can do with the auto dodge. Now, here's the second feature of UI. Your basic key blasts are replaced, so your generic one becomes a Soaring Fist. And your second one becomes Spirit Pulse. So let's see how much damage they do. Soaring Fist is 877, and the Spirit Pulse is 1755, which is a lot for key blasts. Now, I have the regular ones here, so let's compare them. So that one, which can only be charged once, does that much. And a regular Soaring Fist does that much. So it does about 1,000 less. Does 1,000 less, but it doesn't cost a move, but you can't charge it. So with the regular one, you can do this. But you can't do that with this one. Now, Spirit Pulse. 1,755, while the regular one, 2,359. So you're not really losing that much damage. So So you can easily take Spirit Pulse at least off your UI preset. Soaring Fist still has use because you can do the triple. Now, with regular Soaring Fist, you can also follow up with other moves. And you can even follow it up with ultimates. Certain ultimates are fast enough to catch, like that one right there, Sign of Awakening. Let's try it with this one. So let's try this one, then Sign of Awakening. Too slow. See that? It was too slow to catch. So, what that Soaring Fist is for, it's not for doing combos. It's not for going Soaring Fist, Spirit Pulse. Can't do it. You can't even do Soaring Fist into Charge Spirit Pulse. Too slow. But what it is for people who like combo extending with key stuns. So this, for example, you're getting a lot more damage out of the key stun by doing this. As you can see, it does screw up the timing a little bit, at least for me. You're getting a lot more damage out of it, so that's what it's for. It's a lot slower to key stun too, so say they vanish behind you. It takes a little bit longer to actually key stun out. Whereas with a regular key stun, it's pretty instantaneous. And that includes doing these. So you're trading off speed for damage in that case. And those are all the unique features of UI. You get a free charge skill. You get a free Soaring Fist, even though it's a bit downgraded. It's a lot stronger for a key stun when it comes to damage. And you get a Spirit Pulse, which isn't even too much downgraded, and works the exact same. And on top of that, you get an auto dodge that stops basic attacks, key blasts, and grabs. They all get dodged by it. Now, with all the basics covered, let's move on to the weaknesses, followed by a little bit of tech I discovered, and then finally wrapping up with the best Super Souls to use with UI and against UI. So let's go straight in to the weaknesses. Alright, here we are in the counters to UI, and the first hard counter is the don't go all out Super Soul from Goten. As you can see, Blast is very easy to use and land. Takes away 2 bars, 2 entire bars of stamina per hit. Hard to dodge, easy to spam. I advise not spamming it though, unless you want everyone to hate you. But that's the first counter. Basically just slaughters the stam, and when the stam runs out, UI wears off. Number 2 is Paralyze Key Blasts, because they can stun you just long enough for a break, and when you're broken you lose the UI. So if you can whittle down the auto dodge enough to where they don't have their evasive, and even better if you have the Gotcha Super Soul equipped from Frieza, you can just do this and get rid of UI altogether. On that same note is Dragon Burn. You can just activate it when they're attacking you, and just get rid of it if they don't have their evasive. Now there's 2 more that are good for instant stamina breaks, and then there's one that just completely murders UI. So let's go over the 2 more. Evil Ray Strike. Very fast move, instant stamina break if it hits, UI can't dodge it. Basically a guaranteed break if you hit. And the final one, Dodoria Headbutt. UI can't dodge it, and you can follow up with an ultimate. Only weakness is it takes a while to charge up, but it still breaks UI, and it can still disorientate anyone using UI. But as a UI user, those are all the things you need to watch out for when it comes to stamina breaks. But this last thing is so much worse than a stamina break. So let me show you what this last thing is. And here's the thing that absolutely murders UI and makes it worthless. Secret Poison. UI can't dodge it, and it poisons UI. And what does Poison do? It cancels the auto dodge. It will not auto dodge a single thing. So the only benefits of having UI on are the abilities you get. That's it. The auto dodge is completely eliminated. You can stam break whenever you want. Poison absolutely shreds it. If you don't want to use a slot on Secret Poison, There are two Super Souls that absolutely murder UI as well. The first one is the cooler one, which poisons the opponent with a charged Ki Blast, but it lowers all your attacks. But I prefer the Frost one, where a charged attack like that will poison your opponent. And you might say, oh, UI will dodge it. Well, UI will dodge it, but watch. UI dodges it, but the poison still applies. So, you can absolutely trick UI users with this. Like, you could run up to them charging an attack and they'll think, oh yeah, they're just charging an attack, I'll just dodge it. And that's it, there goes their auto dodge. It is completely busted. And it just completely makes UI basically worthless. I mean, you still get the other abilities, but with no buffs or anything and without the auto dodge, yeah, it's a good cripple to UI. Alright, we're on to the tech. We're MUI for this. Now, you know how UI can't dodge any of this? Any strike supers? Well, UI can actually be comboed with data input. And what does this do? Oh, I wonder. It turns you into true MUI. Look, let's set stamina to normal. Alright, let's set Ki to normal, because this is something the data input does as well. So look, let's lower our Ki. 1 bar. And then let's Wolfang Fist. When you data input dodge, you get Ki back. As you can see, the Ki rapidly climbing there. And it barely costs any stamina at all. Now, normally data input can't dodge grabs either, but UI and data input fuse here. It's the ultimate fusion. To where it can dodge everything. Now, here's the caveat though. When you're moving around, this Wolfang Fist will hit you, because data input only works when you're still. And you still use stamina to dodge little blasts like this. So, but the only things that can truly hit you when you do this are charged Ki Blasts. Charged Ki Blast supers, and certain command grab moves. So our Broly's one here. So that one hits through both of them. That and Burning Strike, because it has an animation. Any move that locks you in an animation when it hits, so that, Piccolo's ultimate, they will all hit. But there is a way to make a lot of those not hit. So let's do data input, let's do Fighting Pose A, and now let's do Burning Strike. So that Burning Strike is no longer connecting because Fighting Pose A is active. Now that it's gone, it connects. And with just data input active, it connects. So Fighting Pose A adds a whole nother layer of defense. It defends against Piccolo's ultimate, it defends against Burning Strike, and it will defend against Super God Fist. It will not defend against Gigantic Rage though, because that is a tried and true grab. And if you use Fighting Pose by itself without data input, you'll just block, just like that. Just a straight up block. We go show it here, so we'll block it right here. I did not press block, the game auto blocked. So that's what happens if you use it by itself. Doesn't last that long though. So if you want to keep it up longer, use Lovely Cyclone to reset it. One thing to note with data input is you cannot use your UI counter while data input dodging. Say I'm mashing X here to counter, you can hear it, it won't work. So that's something to keep in mind, your counter will just turn off. Now, can you counter basic attacks since both data input and UI do that? Occasionally. See, it worked there, but it didn't work the first two times. Let's try it again. Mashing it, yeah, it worked there. So it's occasional, but you can still do it with those attacks. And if I'm moving around, you'll see my stamina starts to cost. So let's get attacked. No stamina cost, now let's move around. Yep, stamina cost right there, see? So, it is a trick, it is a method. I think it's pretty cool. And I think it's viable because you don't need a charge skill on your preset. You can actually fit data input on a preset and not have it be in the way. So I think it's worth trying out. It's definitely fun when they do multi-hit moves like Wolfang Fist or Meteor Crash. But there's a little tech for ya. Nice little bit of tech for ya. Truly feels like UI when data input's put on. And data input's weaknesses is you could still key blast it, you could still grab it. Those are its weaknesses, but with UI active, those weaknesses get taken away. And the only thing that costs stamina dodge are basic key blasts, and you can sit in just all day. Does cost a little bit of stam, but considering I'm using a 36 hit attack here, it's not really that much in the grand scheme. Alright, so can you get out of the transformation counter if you hit by it? Let's see. So let's transform, change, attack. No. I was mashing my evasive there. I could not get out. Let's try again. Couldn't get out that time either. Now let's try it. Let's try it, but by just punching. If you're just punching, you can get out of most of it depending on your evasive. So if you go in hard with a move that locks you in an animation, you can't get out. You factually can't get out, and the counter does not hurt super armor, if you've noticed as well. So Divine Kamehameha, that can go through super armor, the evasive can't, but it can just nullify an ult. You can see, no damage, and they're invincible during this time. So if you hit them with a standard attack, you can wait a little, then evasive out, and then you're fine. Nothing hurts them here though, like factually nothing hurts them during that. But depending on your ultimate, you can time it to where they're just getting out of it and whack them with it like that. So if you get out of their thing, you can basically get the preemptive on them, which is something to keep in mind. And even a basic key blast, so even this, locks you in an animation so you can't get out. Only a basic attack can be evasived out of it. So let's show that off. As you can see, can't turn retreat. So the only thing that's safe to hit them with during this is a basic attack. Then wait a bit, get out of it. Now, here is what I consider the most exciting bit of tech involving UI, and it's actually a counter to UI. So if you see someone transforming into UI, and you go for a standard attack on them, and then mash your transformation, like this. I'll go into this camera so you can see both animations. You can get a free beast transformation, because they time out at exactly the same time. So it is pretty much any transformation, because they're all shorter, you can do that with, including beast. Now the timing's a little tough, because you gotta mash it to get it exactly when you want it. Otherwise you'll get it delayed like this. And if it's delayed, this is basically the timing. They get out of it just before. Now I don't know if that's enough time to stamina break you, but it's something you'll have to test. I have no way of testing it on my own. But even if you do it that way, every other transformation in the game is safe. So if you see a UI in this mode, just punch them like that, mash your transformation, they barely do any stamina damage to you, and you get free transformation. It's beautiful stuff. That's my favorite bit of tech I've discovered so far. It's really cool, because you're like face tanking their attack with your transformation. Now, that's it with the tech. Let's move on to the Super Souls that will be good with UI and good against UI. Alright, so this section we're going over Super Souls that are good for UI and Super Souls that counter UI. So first of all, let's sell the ones that are good for UI. And basically, anyone that gives you an attack buff is good for UI. So Beerus is Super Soul, Champ is Super Soul, anyone that just buffs your attack in any way is good for UI, since it doesn't come with any attack buffs in the first place. This one more so for PvE, but if you're really good at PvP, then this one will be really good for it. Activates Curled Recovery Mode, boosts amount of Ki restored, Ki blast skills, through Super Soul obviously. Now this one would be great for PvP. Instant Key, so you can go straight into Ultra Instinct. If they're not expecting it, they won't burst dash you, especially if they don't know the break times. And then you have Key Auto Recovery for like 30 seconds of the fight. So that one's really good for PvP, especially since it eats 5 key bars, so you'll be gaining those back with this supercell. So this one's an absolute chill-in if you don't have max stamina. Because if you have a good QQ bang and you use it, it will give you max stamina, and stamina is the thing you want with UI because it gives you more auto dodges, and it means even if you've lost stamina during the fight, you'll still probably have enough to maintain UI throughout the fight and have some good auto dodges. So that one's an absolute chill-in. Now this one, that Hito after matchup, I say is great for PvE, because all you need to do is be slightly tapped with an ultimate, and that includes full power energy blast volley, which the AI love to bloody spam. So you're hit by that once, you're getting an L increase to every attack, you're getting an M decrease to all the damage you take, you're getting more movement speed, more key restored, and faster stamina recovery, so you get buffed everywhere. Just for getting slightly clipped by an ult, and then using an evasive. So that one's absolutely perfect for PvE. I'd say that's one of the best ones for PvE. So there's no way you can hit me, temporary boost movement speed when using an evasive, and activate stamina auto recovery mode. So if you're using like a 2-bar evasive, you're getting stamina back pretty quickly with this supercell, and as I said before, you need lots of stamina for UI, so this is a really good one to have. Next up is Jiren's. I'll prevail no matter the cost. When you have more key than your opponent, you get a large damage increase to all attacks, which is good for UI, and when you have less, you get key auto recovery mode, which is good for actually transforming into UI and gaining the key back while you're fighting in it. So that one is absolutely perfect for UI as well. Both PvE and PvP, I would say. It's very useful. And our two strong scientists out together, Gogeta Supercell. Key auto recovery mode all the time. Very solid. It's able to sustain blue evolution pretty reasonably. And boost stamina recovery speed by a small amount. But that's active all the time. You don't need to do anything to activate it. It's just passive boost throughout the whole match. PvE, PvP. Very useful. Now, here's another one from Ultra Instinct Omen Goku, obviously. I think I'm getting the hang of this. Always, boost amount of key restored medium, and then when you're under half health, you get large stamina recovery speed. Useful for PvP, not so much PvE. But that's pretty good for PvP, because halfway through your health pool, you should have UI active by then, or you should be close to wanting it to be active. So having a stamina boost would be very useful. And having the key restore is just useful on its own. So there's another good one. Okay, here's one I just bought from the TP shop because I updated today. Something deadly is about to happen. So when the opponent's key is 80% or higher, XXL, stamina recovery speed and health auto recovery mode. I don't know how useful this will be in PvP, but in PvE, this would be amazing because all enemies in PvE basically start with full key. A lot of them have artificial boosts to their key, so when they combo people they get faster key. And they barely use their key. So they'll do an ultimate, you break it, and then as you're punching them they basically get all their key back as you're punching them. And then you have fast stamina recovery and you have health auto recovery as you're doing all that. So you could be nigh invincible in PvE with this along with the auto dodge. So I'd say this is one of the best PvE ones, like top 3, easily. Now, as a UI user, if you don't want to get poisoned, which will absolutely just ruin your form, you need to run Let's Just Enjoy the Game right now, which lowers damage from all attacks by small, but it nullifies poison, nullifies movement reduction, and hindrance damage. Now, I'm not exactly sure what hindrance damage means. I think it just means the damage from poison. But the poison itself will just not affect you. So you'll keep your auto dodge with this on. So that's one of the main reasons you'd want to use this over some of the attack boosting ones. Alright, here's the last supercell I can think of. Probably one of the best, both PvE, PvP, very solid. I actually have this on my male Saiyan, but I can't be bothered switching over to them to shell it, so I'm just shelling my Vegeta. But this Arrayed Super Soul. I think I'm finally warmed up now. Bit of time after battle starts, so about 30 seconds. Boost the strength of all attacks medium, large movement speed boost, and key auto recovery. Now, I think the auto recovery is a bit weaker than the Gogeta one, but you also get these other things with it, and the strength buff is obviously good for UI. So that is all of the Super Souls I think benefit UI. I know there's a lot more I probably missed, but those are the ones that really stood out to me. Some are more PvE based, some are more PvP based. Now, let's go over some of the Super Souls I think will absolutely counter UI. Alright, here's the first one. The real hell begins here. Cool as Super Soul. So it weakens all of your attacks, which is probably the major reason you wouldn't want to use it over the others. But if you hit them with a charged Ki Blast, which is paralyzed, which is a really easy one to land, it not only slows them down, but it poisons them. And poison actually cancels the auto dodge of UI. It just disables it completely. So that's the first one that completely butchers UI. The second one is don't go all out. When a charged Ki Blast hits, boost stamina damage. You get the Bomb Ki Blast, but the Bomb Ki Blast is very easy to land, hard to dodge, takes away 2 bars of stamina or 1.5 bars, I'm not exactly sure. But using it on a UI will absolutely mince their stamina, which they need to stay in UI, and they'll revert if they lose it all. So that's number 2, probably one of the best counters for it. Also, any like this, where if you just guard it minces their stamina more. If you're good at just guarding, these are also UI counters. So I just had to switch characters to show you the last one. So Frost Super Soul, this is probably the best one in my opinion. Boost strength for all attacks against poisoned opponents medium, and charged attack hits poisons the opponent. So a charged attack is when you hold triangle and you do the attack, and as you saw in the weaknesses, the charged attack can actually whiff on UI and still poison UI. So it completely counters it in my opinion. Disables the auto dodge, gives you a damage boost, gives you the paralyzed Ki Blast, which helps you for stamina breaking. It is probably the best counter one against UI, and I'm pretty sure I bought it in the TP shop, don't quote me on that. Alright, so now that I've gone over everything, I'm just going to put a TLDR on the screen, all the pros, all the cons of the form. And that's the end of this video. So let me know what you think. I think I covered basically everything that I could find about UI, all the tech I could find. This is early day stuff, so more can be discovered or changed in a patch. But I wanted to make a big long guide like this just because it seemed like the skill had a lot more going on with it, and it obviously did. So I'm glad I made this video. This is my first proper Xenoverse video. I don't know how many more I'd make because I play the game PvE, which I don't know isn't too fun to watch. But I mainly play JRPGs and other such games on this channel like Persona. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. If you're not interested, then I'm glad you watched this video. I hope at least one bit of it was useful, and I'm glad UI finally got into the game. Now let's all put our hands together and pray for a Super Saiyan 4 transformation to be the next chosen one. Because holy, that is a long overdue transformation. Even more long overdue than UI. But that's the end of this guide. Thank you for watching, and see ya.